Hello and welcome to Lois and Morgana Davidson Art. It's Morgana here, and today's demo is this bright, cold, snowy hillside with a winter barn, perfect for the chilly January weather we're having this week. I'm beginning with plain hot press watercolour paper. This is size 38 by 28 centimeters. I'm wetting the top half of the paper with a large brush, and I've got a tiny amount of indigo there just to get a little bit of colour on the paper straight away. I'm going to use my water spray to just gently mist the lower area with just a little water. I'm going to use the card swipe technique to paint today using a simple store card. As you can see, we've got three colours here squeezed out along the short edge. We have some indigo, alizarin crimson hue and Payne's grey, just three of my favourite colours that I think work really well together. Beginning at the wet area of the paper roughly halfway up, I am holding the card at a shallow angle so that when I move it across the paper, the paint is transferred in this lovely sort of thick textural manner. I'm concentrating on creating just a simple landscape and not laying down too many marks right away, as part of the magic of this technique comes when you start adding a little bit more water. I decided that I wanted a slightly darker sky, so here I'm using my 2-inch flat brush to add a little bit more indigo. You can see as well that as I'm bringing this paint down towards the card swipe, the paint here is blooming up to meet me. This is due to the extra water I added to the paper using my spray bottle. A fun technique is to use the corner of your card to begin scraping in some rough shapes whilst your paint is drying. Here you can see I'm just adding some loose clumps of spiky winter grasses. As well as the edge of your card, you can also use the end of your paintbrush to create thinner or thicker marks scraped into the paint. Once you're happy with the shapes you've created, set the painting aside to dry flat. This is how mine has turned out. I'm really happy with the textures created through the combination of the thick paint and the spray bottle here, and I think I'll certainly be experimenting with this technique a lot more. To bring this landscape to life, I decided to pencil in the shape of an old barn just lightly using an HB pencil. To paint it, I'm using the same colour palette as I did for the card swipe to maintain some colour harmony across the paper. This is a very light mix of some indigo and alizarin crimson hue, made using plenty of water. I'm keeping the barn walls very pale compared to the roof, as I don't want to lose that misty effect I achieved here from the card swipe. A simple bit of lifting creates the barn door. You could also do this to add windows if you wanted. I'm using my favourite brush, the size small sword liner, to enhance the detail in the foreground, using it to add in some extra fine grasses. This is another lovely brush, a peach dry brush in size 2. It works really well to add loose, stippled details. Here you can see I'm using it to dot in a handful of simple flowers. For a finishing touch, I wanted to add a flock of birds. To make sure they wouldn't ruin the composition, I drew my birds roughly onto a piece of tracing paper and used it as an overlay to find out where they would look the best. With this as a reference, I'm able to now take my brush and confidently add this flock of distant birds. Again, I'm using my small sword liner, but any small brush with a fine point would work well for this. And that's it. Here is the finished painting. Thank you everybody for watching. I really enjoyed painting this one, and I think that the card swipe method created some really interesting textural effects that I definitely want to explore a bit more. If you did enjoy today's demo, please do feel free to check out my Patreon page, Morgana Rose Art, linked below the video. But that's all from me today, so I wish you all a wonderful January week and very happy painting.